think Miami is a solid team with a really favorable schedule that sets up for them to be able to have another good season. And that's just the way it balls out. I mean, they don't play a game out of the state of Florida until November, if I remember correctly. So that's like kudos to them for that. But you've got a team that has named talent at wide receiver, but nobody has really exploded onto that. I personally believe that their best wide receiver currently overall blocks very well, catches it pretty good in the slot. It's number 10. I can't think of his name, but number
Malachi
10.
Tony?
Malachi Tony, yes. Malachi Tony's the guy that when I watched him live against Notre Dame in Carson Beck's box before Miami fans jump on me. I watched him, and I'll talk about Carson, Mandarin University alum. I know Carson extremely well. I will be checking Miami versus Louisville out as well. Carson is a very much so a pro style quarterback. I believe you'll see Carson play on Sundays for a lot longer than the young man who we just saw. A lot of Carson's, and the reason why is a lot of Carson's completions and he's extremely accurate from 5 to 10 yards, and he's going to dice you up and he's going to clean you up. He's really good at that. He also has done he does have the ability to throw the ball down the field, but I definitely know his accuracy and what he does is going to be really good with that. He also, it's not like Cam Ward, where Cam Ward could extend the pocket, throw it, but also kill you with the run. Carson is really he really wants to throw it. And if we give that middle of the field up, much like what we did against Virginia, it's going to be a long night. And Carson, he's going to study. He knows his stuff. And he's a guy that you want to play for. He's a fun guy to be around. On top of the fact that I really believe I call him the Polly Pocket. I can't think of his name, but he's one of the best offensive line coaches in the nation. I have to give him his props. Maribel. Maribel is going to have his line ready to do what they need to do in the run game. And it could be raining, which honest to God's truth, I don't think the rain helps Florida State in this situation. So all in all, I think Miami is a solid ball club that has beat a solid Notre Dame team. Actually, and I think Notre Dame team is going to end up being a 9-10 win team. And when you go back and you look at the resume at the end of the season, the teams that Miami beat will all say they are pretty good. And I think, they have very good reason to be confident in what they do. Now, as far as blowing out, not sure. Anything is there, but I know what they're going to do and what I've seen them do consistently. They're going to do enough to win. And in that fourth quarter, if they're not doing what they're supposed to do, Mario will run up that damn score. And I actually kind of like that about Mario, that he will try to prove a point once he gets out of his conservative nature. But I know it's a fun rivalry. Doak will be sold out. It will be the most adverse place that they've played, but I really think much is made about that more than what people want to make of that when you have a veteran team. So I'm looking forward to this weekend. So I can't wait to get there, get to Tallahassee and see a good game.
Oh, look at this. We got Cam Underwood, the State of the U. So folks, if you're on the Florida State side, even get on over to the State of the U. You can prep Miami and FSU coming up on Saturday. Cam, what's going on?
Gentlemen, good to see you. Good to be here. Great rivalry week coming up off of a bye for the Hurricanes and everything. Those who don't know me, Cam Underwood, stateoftheu.com. Please come on over and fan with us. We had 37 pieces of content during Florida week. I think we're already up to 13 in 2 days for FSU week, with more on the way. So we have plenty of great content for you. Tried to have a little cheeky, friendly trash talk over on Tomahawk Nation, our sister site on SB Nation, with our new feed feature. But they deleted my post. I think I hurt their feelings, and I was on their little feed wall thing, because the editors of each like site, you're supposed to go on the other team and be like, oh, hey, you know, like I come in peace and everything. I was like, nah, I come with hate, bro. Like, what's up, Miami? You know, da 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 da. You know, 305, all that. And they deleted my post, so I guess they don't want to have a little trash talk and anything. But yeah, man, glad to be here. What's going on with you?
Well, this is one of the more fun times for me because I can just kick back and I love to see the rivalry go at it between got James and George. We got Cam. So I will stay out of the way and just, if I got something I really want to hear, then I will jump in and ask one of you. But otherwise, I'll let you guys dice up the matchup.
I
will say, Tomahawk Nation, that was not in the spirit of hate week. I mean, they could have at least cussed you out before they booted you or something. That is kind of rough. If you're looking for somebody to go back and forth, go hit up Tiny Hat. He'll go with you all day.
Yeah, Tiny Hat's definitely good at that.
I mean, look, it was just a little cheeky thing, you know, whatever. There were a couple comments from some of their readers and everything, and you know, we kind of gave and take, you know, as good as we got and everything. It was, you know, it was fun. I had a smile on my face, you know. They're, oh yeah, you know, you'd probably never even been to Coral Gables and everything. I was like, went there, graduated. Sorry, you know, like, oh yeah, your dad probably told you, but I'm like, grew up in Detroit, learned it for myself because I was a freshman in 2000 when we beat you for the first time in 7 years. Thanks, you know, like kind of things, and then they booted me off of there. But
I've seen you in the press box. So you've been to Coral Gables. So yeah.
Can confirm. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Listen, James Coleman can confirm that I've been to Coral Gables.
Confirm.
Verify.
Or at least, you know what? You're wrong. Actually, I'm wrong. I don't know if you've ever been to Coral Gables, but I can say you've been in the Hard Rock Stadium. I have seen you at a game and numerous times, and it was a good time.
Every time. I'm trying to see if I have my little pocket diploma or something here, man. Like, nah, like, yo, there are pictures of me on campus and all kinds of different things. So yeah, anyways, man.
What would it take for Cam to venture to Tallahassee?
I mean, 5 figures of crooked numbers hitting my bank account, like minimum.
Come on now.
Hey, it is what it is, but I wouldn't go. Like, it's hard to go to hostile territory. Ironically, so when I saw you at the Notre Dame game, right?
Yeah.
I was in my green jacket. I had no FSU apparel on. It was technically illegal. I cannot wear colors close to either school that's playing.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Carson's box, and to the right of me there was a lot of Canes fans, and there was one guy with a Dalvin Cook jersey on. And I'm like, okay, cool. I didn't say anything. I was watching the game, minding my business. The guy looks, and I look, you know how you catch eyes with somebody who's looking at you, and he's looking at me. He is looking in my face, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to just turn this way. Maybe they won't see me. And then the guy's like, then next thing you know, I look back, and he calls the Miami guys over there. If they're in the box looking at me, and I'm like, man, I do not know what's going on. And then dude was like, looks at me, and he gives me the chop. I'm like, dude, you're gonna get us both harmed here. I was like, I just want to watch a game. I want to get out of here. But it was fun, man. Again, Tyler's a good. Everybody takes. It's a rivalry. It's a rivalry for the field on the field. For the most part, though, I have a great time when I go to Coral Gables, and I tailgate. I walk through all of this stuff. All of the tough talk that people do, it really negates when I think a lot of times when they see I'm not a petite male. But a lot of the other stuff, a lot of people are really there to have a good time. So like, you know, it is what it is, man. Like I love it. I like it better. I am upset at Florida State for messing up the opportunity for this to be a top. It wouldn't have been top 5 either way, but it would have been a top 10 matchup, which would have made. I don't think we would have made the top 5.
Y'all were what?
They would have
8
figured out
last week. 6.
I think it would have been 6 or 7. I think that's about as far as we would have gone. They would have gone. Was Ohio State?
I think they would have pushed y'all up for the game, you know, because y'all were 8 anyway. 2 or 3 teams lost in front of you. So even if it was close, you know, even though like I know Penn State and Oregon loser was going to be highly ranked, I could have seen them doing a little shenanigans, sliding. It's the same thing they did with Miami before the year to make the Notre Dame game like the top 10 matchup. I'm like, based on what, fam? But you know, hey, whatever. So I could have seen that. But yeah, you know, talking about, you know, good games and everything. I'll start where you were. How y'all feeling after, you know, dropping
make mistakes? You make mistakes on the road. Their quarterback, I think, was better than what we gave them credit for. A lot of us just didn't know. They made plays when they needed to make plays, and Florida State turned the ball over twice early in the game. Like you can't go down 14-0 on the road. And from there, you're just playing catch up. And I think Tony White's strategy to stop them from making the big play backfired with the ability of their quarterback to be damn accurate, especially in the middle of the field to the short yardage stuff. So I think
y'all got to run that back this week or change it up.
Well, here's the thing: is that you go away, you attack the conservative stuff on Miami, and because we haven't really seen consistently that deep play. When I'm looking at the Notre Dame game and a little bit of the Florida game that I watched, you don't really see them attacking like that. Not saying that it can't happen, and that's what I was going to ask you. I like number 10 in the wide receiver core. Who are some guys that Florida State fans should be watching, and some notable matchups when it comes to that? Because I'm looking at the numbers. Honest to God's truth, Carson Beck's, and I'm not suggesting. I think Carson's playing better than Tommy right now at quarterback. Carson and Tommy's yards and total touchdowns are similar, as well as interceptions, and the wide receiver numbers are. I actually thought Miami's wide receiver numbers would have been better. Their leading receiver, would have been better. But who are some guys that we should probably be looking for, and what are some of the things that they do very well?
Yeah, the thing that is missing from this offense are explosive vertical plays, whether that's in the pass game or the run game. But like those explosive nuclear 30-40, blur, like you don't see many of those in this offense. It had the one with the kind of nod and go kind of a sluggo to Josh Moore in the USF game. But Miami is one of the worst teams in terms of offensive explosiveness, but we're one of the best teams in efficiency. We will grind y'all to death. I mean, anybody, you know what I mean? Like 4 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards of play, walk down 16, 17, 18 plays, cool. But it's not going to be 4 plays and then woo. So that's really what really needs to happen for Miami's offense to be fully well-rounded. Because teams are just saying, hey, we're not going to let you hit us over the top like you did with Cam Ward with a different quarterback who's not that same kind of vertical passer, and that's okay. The short to intermediate pass game is Carson Beck's superpower, so we're going to lean on that. CJ Daniels, number 1 receiver coming over from LSU, previously Liberty, healthy again after battling a heel last year. He's a guy who's had multiple one-hand catches, jumping over dudes and whatnot. He's your leading guy there. Number 10, Malachi Toney. There's no way on God's green earth he should have been a 3-star recruit. People were just being lazy because he was supposed to be a senior currently in high school. So they're like, oh, we don't got to update his ranking because we have another full year. Reclassified up, played the first 3 weeks at 17 years old, just turned 18 the week of the Florida game and everything. And he's more athletic Restrepo. He's not as polished as Restrepo because Restrepo was a 6th-year senior, but like he plays that slot. If you want a wiggle route, a whip route, a quick dig, something like that, that's where he's going to operate, and he's going to be open. And you've seen that in every single game. So those 2 guys are really leading the way in terms of the wide receivers. The thing about this year is there's more names that can make plays than last year, because last year's passing game was Isaiah Horton, Sam Brown, Jacoby George, and Xavier Restrepo, and Elijah Arroyo at tight end. But those 4 receivers, set it and forget it. It's going to be all 4 of them on the field, or 3 of those 4, and pretty much nobody else is going to play. This year, we've had 9 receivers have catches, 3 true freshmen. In addition to Malachi Toney, you got Joshua Moore, who I already mentioned, CJ Daniels, Keelan Marion, Tony Johnson, Ray Joseph. I mean, there's a variety of names that can be out there. But yeah, short and intermediate is really what they do well. Looking to really kind of get things going vertically, whether it's a tight end or a wide receiver. But the strength of this team, I know you call him Mighty Mouse, Cristobal and Mirabal, and then offensive line, leaning on you, getting 2 yards push before the running back even gets touched. And then just, Big Mark Fletcher, 6'2", 235, Shamar Brown right behind him, 6 foot 215. He was the best player in 1AA football, the leading back at North Dakota State, winning them a national championship and winning the Jerry Rice Award. And that's with Jordan Lyle not really even playing, with Gerard Pringle, another speedster, being out. So the passing game, I think we're going to be able the singles and doubles are there in the passing game. Like, those are there. I need to see more explosion from this offense in whatever iteration it wants to be, on the ground or in the pass game. But yeah, that's really what we're looking like on offense.
The crux of this whole thing is, can Florida State slow that run game down and make Beck have to throw the ball? I do think that Tony White's going to have more guys close to the line of scrimmage, maybe not as much of the too high safety stuff with y'all, just kind of what you named, like, because Daniels is a beast, but he's not a beast that's going to get 3 yards of separation and be gone, it seems like, for most of the stuff, making amazing catches in traffic, more so than the guy that's going to break out on explosive, which maybe I'll end up eating those words. But I'm sure you probably saw some of the Bama game. I'm sure you heard about the 11-play drive where Virginia just ran it down our throats. What are your thoughts on that? Do you think Florida State has a shot to stop the run against you guys and make you guys throw the ball?
Yeah, I did watch all of those games and everything. And I think that Carson has also missed some opportunities down the field, even to CJ Daniels. There was one play, he was a little flushed against Florida. He was going to his right, but we ran kind of a spot wheel on the backside, and buddy, he was butt naked wide open. But I'm running to my right, not trying to get away from this big dude wearing, orange and blue. So I'm not getting a chance to set my feet and see it like I can see it from the press box where, I have that bird's eye view. I think that Florida State's really going to have to commit bodies to the run. They're really going to have to, if any team decides they're going to stay back in too high against Miami and have 5-6 man boxes, because we do go with a variety of spread alignments, even if we're not necessarily like playing basketball on grass. I don't think that there's any team that's really going to stop Miami in the run game. They're going to have to have timely run blitzes. They're going to have to allocate dudes from the secondary down. Like, it's just, it's going to happen. I think if you time things well, you can get Miami into third and medium, third and longs. And that's where you can have success, because then, Carson Beck has to pass, 3rd and 8, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. We've had plenty of those. But you really have to sell out to win decisively that one of those first or second down plays. Like, not like get to the line, no gain, like negative in the backfield, which is really, really tough. Because I think that I said going into the year that Miami had a top 2 offensive line in the country. After watching all this football through the month of September, I think that Miami's offensive line is the singular best in America. I really, really do. We have incredible talent all across the board. So yeah, I think that Florida State's going to have to allocate more guys forward and really just sell out and say, hey, if you're a safety, you're getting through that B gap. Come hell or high water. And if they do something else and they see you coming and it's a play action or they slide protection, it is what it is. But yeah, you, Earl Little Jr., B gap, go. That's really, I think, going to have to be key, because if you don't do that, our offensive line averages 6'6", 325. You know what I mean? Like, our tackles are 6'6.5" and 6'9". Like, you're going to have to, any team is going to have to do that. But if you do win up front, maybe if, Daniel Lyons, shout out to South Florida, if Daryl Jackson, shout out to a guy who left this program for no good reason, but hey, whatever. If 5 and 6 inside can win some of those, that 2nd and 8, and they get a TFL and it turns into 3rd and 11, that's the thing that can really have a positive impact on the game for Florida State's defense, I think.
Yeah, I think that's the thing. Daryl Jackson is getting a lot of heat from FSU fans for absolutely no reason. He's actually doing his job. There was plays where there's literally 3 Virginia guys allocated to him, that means the other guys have to win their one-on-one matchups. And one of the things that was the weakness is the linebackers guessed wrong. They did not run fit very well against Virginia. Virginia did a lot more misdirection than what they have been able to see. And again, that's where the difference between, and that's what I also think where Miami's, and we'll go to Miami's defense, where they may have some issues, is that Gus is going to do a lot of different things and throw a lot of stuff at you. Whereas Alabama, for going back to Florida State, Alabama and Notre Dame, similar, easy. We're going to line up. This is what we do. And you have to stop what we do. Same thing for Florida, outside of when they decided to go single wing, and because their quarterback is allergic to throwing the football. So they just decided that we're going to run the ball. And then, South Florida, so on. Bethune-Cookman just knew that they didn't have much. So, but one of the things that I would like to get some feedback on that is, how good is the University of Miami's D-line and their linebackers? Obviously, everybody knows about Ruben Bain, who actually looks really, really good. Like he's toned up. Only thing that I would suggest for him, and actually I don't want him to do this because I think he'll get stronger, is that when you're 20 years old and you're facing those things that you shouldn't have to face as a man until your 40s, when that hairline is receding, like that I'd be angry too. I saw the Afro pic and I'm like, man, I don't know which woman stressed. It might have been his mom, grandma, sisters. I don't know who stressed him out, but he needs to
come on home.
Change that. But yeah, come on, like go ahead, Cam, you can give him some advice.
Hey, now you see it, like, hey man, I was in my late 30s. Yeah, I was in my late 30s. Yeah. I went to the shop. I used to teach at Miramar, and there was the barbershop I went to was right around the corner from Carroll City High School, right on 183rd. And I had tickets. My homeboys in Alpha had tickets to an Alpha party event that night. Got out the chair, got back in the whip, took out the phone to text Bay a picture straight out the chair that day. Couldn't see my hairline. I said, boy. But every man in my family had gone bald. I've never seen a picture of my Uncle John with hair. So I know it was coming. I did everything with my hair except for two things that I wanted to do. I'm not going to tell you what those are because you're going to laugh at me for one of them. But I did everything, but I saw that selfie and said, boy. And I pump faked it before. I got, every black man, you got the T outliners. Went to the party that night, woke up that next Saturday morning, went to the bathroom, took them clippers, and just in the natural swing of my hand said, Yonk. And that was the last time I had hair. Look, I get it. And yeah, I feel it. But, hey, it might be a Samson and Delilah kind of thing. If he cuts off his hair, you might think, oh, yeah, you're going to rob him of his power. And then all of a sudden, he still, pulls the pillars down and everything. But the strength of Miami's defense, back to being serious, is the defensive line. I mean, Ruben Bain is the destroyer of worlds. I literally wrote that feature piece on stateoftheu.com. Akeem Mesidor, also back and healthy, getting after it. Both of those dudes are they're lean, lithe, like rocked up. You can just tell that they're not carrying the extra bad weight. And I mean, the thing for Bain is that he's healthy. He got hurt on the second play of the Florida game in the opener last year and was not the same. With those guys leading the way and a good rotation inside, you got 5-star from 2 years ago. Justin Scott is a true sophomore making plays. David Blade Jr., who was first team all-conference at Louisiana Tech, starting in there also. Ahmad Moten Sr., and then you can mix and match, maybe slide a Bain inside, have Mesidor. You got Marquise Lightfoot, another 5-star from Chicago, like Justin Scott, coming in on the NASCAR package, got a sack on the first third down against Florida. There's a lot of dudes that can really hoop up front, and that's the superpower for this defense. Linebackers are playing better under new defensive coordinator and linebacker coach Corey Heatherman. But to your point, with everything that Gus does, the run fits from the second level are the thing that I'm really focused on. I'm not going to say concerned about, but I really need those to be dialed in. And it's just kind of the same thing that we've seen from Florida State in the past where, looks like a stalemate at the line of scrimmage. And then all of a sudden, insert player here is running down the field 40 yards. You know what I mean? And I really am keying on the linebackers to be dialed in there. That's really what we need to see happen. And I see people saying that I have false bravado in the chat and everything, Jared Williams and whatnot. I think that it's reasonable, the bravado that I have for this team. And I'm not going crazy. Like, I know that I am an alum and like everything, but I'm not that guy just to be and talk super
I've seen
crazy.
You worse. I've seen you worse. I'm actually very shocked that you're really good right now, Cam. I mean, like, listen,
come on.
A couple weeks ago, I think Mark, we were on. You were a little bit more boisterous, but like now, like, I can't even get mad at. There's nothing you said that's making me be like, you know what? That's just crazy. Like,
the only thing that I really push back on, and I guess it was a matter of me misinterpreting your phrasing, was when you said about Castellanos being faster, and I took that as a better playmaking quarterback than Jordan Travis. I thought you were paying him a little short shrift there, but that was a miscommunication, and we worked that out. And like, yeah, that was from then, and I hear you. But yeah, I don't think that it's crazy anything I'm saying. I mean, there are concerns. If I'm focused on the linebackers and their run fits, that's a thing that maybe a couple times I've seen not be as buttoned up as I need it to be. That's an area for concern. I've talked about how even with a solid run game, there have been times that Miami has gotten behind the sticks with some TFLs on offense to put them into 3rd and 8+. There are chinks in the armor. I told, like, if I were to look at it, I forget what it is. It's, I think in 2 of the 3 explosivity stats on offense, Miami ranks 117th and 122nd out of 134 or 136 in the country in terms of offensive explosive plays, play rate, and then per successful play or something like that. Like, there are multiple things that, like, if they all go, or a couple of them don't go our way and things like that, you turn the ball over, Carson Beck, you underthrow a seam route and let Cormani McClain, Lord God, I heard so much from Florida fans about that. Undercut a seam route, but if you really put that ball in there or lead him a little bit more earlier, that's probably a touchdown. You know what I mean? And yeah, so I think there are a lot of things to like about Miami. I like the way that they're going about their business. I like the physicality and size that this team has now. I remember going to media day back on campus in the Brad Kaya days, like, the 2015, 2016. And there were a couple of big dudes, but not like this. Like, this looks like an SEC roster. You know what I mean? Like, this roster is akin to an Alabama, Georgia. Not every single player, but much more than it used to be. You know what I mean? Especially, big dudes close to the ball on both sides of the line of scrimmage. So, yeah, there are things that I like. And, I think every team has things that they can do better or could be exploited by the other team. Yeah, so I mean, that's kind of where I am with it. I think Miami wins. I think Miami wins by a touchdown to 10 points. But I pulled up right when you guys were talking about, maybe Mark asked about, potential for getting blown out or something like that. I don't see that. I know that we've had dueling 6 touchdown blowouts recently in this series. Like, we've had one, you had, just like, which one of the teams shouldn't have been on the field with the other team. And it's gone both ways. I don't think in the current iteration of Florida State or of either program, I don't think that a blowout happens in this game unless something goes off the rails for the team that gets blown out. Like, it would have to be, 4 or 5 turnovers and a special teams touchdown. And, like, I don't see that happening. And I think that that's a credit to both programs for their, their development and their focus and just their performing excellence being to a different level than it's been when we've seen each team get blown out in the past.
Before we jump in with the next one, I think, George, you might be on
mute.
I
was muted there.
George, before you cut loose, George, let's get to some super chats. So, Noel Nation, you should be a little embarrassed by this. So, get ready. Yeah, there you go.
Throw it up, Falconer TRX, my boy.
Falconer TRX here on the Florida State Show. getting us started with the super chats, and then he just keeps going. So Falconer takes over after this. Bad call. FSU had a touchdown in the second overtime. We discussed that.
That ball. I hated it because he was butt naked wide open, but like I hate to say that was the right call.
I thought it was too.
Catch it the first time. You get 4. You don't get 4 attempts to catch one pass. Right? You don't get extra credit for that.
Yeah, he carried that thing about 11 yards with him.
Yeah, and again, it was such a shame because it. I know that I reference the video game all the time, but there's a press pro ability that wide receivers have where they can beat press coverage clean, and it scales bronze, silver, gold, platinum, and then there's platinum can turn into Heisman, which is like basically whatever skill badge it is becomes super duper ridiculous. I swear his press pro was on platinum. Like that man was open off the line immediately. I mean, by 3 steps in 1 step. I'm like, dog, how was he this wide open? Yeah.
And James and George, how many times did I brag on Deuce Robinson saying, you guys are going to like him? I watched him at USC. This dude's a mismatch, and he had a huge day at 150 yards in the air.
I think when we first heard about that, as soon as we brought it up, that was like, wow, that would be a miracle. That would be a big time player to get, and it worked out. Sorry to cut you off there, James. I guess I was lagging.
I just feel old because I played with his dad, and his dad it's just. I mean, he's a good ball player. He was open. He's tough to press. But you can't play off because he's a. What's my guy that was there? The other big light skin receiver, the ones with the Eagles.
Johnny Wilson. He's like in between Johnny and Keon, like right.
He's a more athletic Johnny Wilson. And I just that was a shame because what we need him to do is make that catch clean. Like you need him to make one wide open catches, but definitely 50-50 balls. That's really where a lot of people don't. Where I was getting TC isn't. When I actually watched him, he's not a bad quarterback. He's not a pocket passer. Like, so if you want him to just drop straight back, sit there, that's not going to be his strength. But if you can move the pocket and you're doing stuff like that, and he can throw the ball up to a 6 foot, $1 million wide receiver with a big catch radius, that is no matter how, no trolling in this. It's very difficult to defend because most DBs, even when they're tall, are 6 foot. 6'1" is a tall DB.
Yeah.
At corner. Mm-hmm. And because again, the taller you are,
the harder it is to put them hips, boy.
It's a reason why they call my friend Antonio Cromartie the prototype when he goes around NFL circles. Because there ain't many guys that are 6'3", that run 4'3", that have fluid hips that can change direction on a dime. And
that ain't playing wide receiver.
That ain't playing wide receiver. Like if you're tall, tall, they're putting you on offense, and he was actually really, really good. And I think when you got a kid that's 6'6", 6'7", that can run very, very tall, he's still, even if your DBs are tall, you're still giving up something when it comes to that. But again, like I said, I think a lot of this stuff, I think really, and this is why I really do wish Friday night didn't happen. I've played in these games that when it's a top matchup and the energy is electric. It's really fun. It's one of the games it's why you go to these different schools. And like not different schools. This is why you go to Florida State, why you go to Miami. Like you go on your recruiting visit. They don't go and they don't talk about, hey man, we got Kent State. This is going to be a stat game. They don't talk about, man, this is why you come to Miami. We play South Florida. We play Bethune-Cookman. No, you're like, hey, we're going to play Florida State. We're going to play you guys this year. We're going to play Florida. We're going to do these things. And even what I said, and it's no disrespect to Virginia, that's not the game that the NFL scouts want to see. They're going to want to see this game. And if you feel like you are worth it, you are a pro level prospect, here's where you get an opportunity to prove it on prime time with everybody in America watching in a hostile environment. So what do you think Miami will do with this being the first time this season that they will be playing in a hostile environment? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, just before that, I mean, like I said, I ran into you at the Notre Dame game. You saw I got kicked out of my row because all the third row in my section of the press box was NFL people, bro. Like GMs, like multiple scouts from multiple teams. Like you saw more, there was what, 40, 50 dudes with NFL logos just walking around, you know what I mean? So that, this is one of those kind of games. I think I'm going to lean on what Mario said on Monday, that it is incumbent upon the staff to make the work on our practice field as hard or harder than anywhere that they're going to play. And when I was in college, my dorm was the closest dorm. So the practice fields are very, campus is small. So it's the practice fields, it's the wellness center, like the student workout gym, the IM field, the intramural fields are right in front of that. And right next to that, it was where my dorm was. And for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, all day, every day, if they're outside, you heard that darn war chant. Because they brought all the outdoor speakers. They literally hired like 5 and 6 DJs from around the South Miami area. Everybody set up, plugged into the same feed. And it just the whole week on repeat. It's like, oh, I wonder what time practice is today. Now, right? Because you got to be fully immersed in it to be ready for it. And even if you think you're ready for it, you're not ready for it, right? I just put up a piece on stateoftheu.com today. My favorite rivalry of Miami's is the rivalry with Florida State. My first game as a freshman was 2000. And I remember I couldn't even sit in the student section because it got full. I had to sneak in, and I'm sitting around the 45-yard line on Miami's sideline. And the Knoll marching band was upstairs on the other side. You remember where they used to be in the Orange Bowl, and they were faced right at, and you saw the dude in the white jumpsuit get up with the special whistles that they got because they have custom-made whistles. And the first time they queued up that war chant, it was like the fire of 10,000 suns in my face. And I was like, oh, it can't be that. I grew up going to Michigan games. I didn't see all these marching bands. It was different. And I thought I was ready for it, right? So I say all of that to say, the work that we've been doing last week during the bye week and the work that we're doing now, that has to be the preparation work. We can't just say, okay, we're going to show up and then let whatever happen. I think that the preparation is really the thing. And the thing to me that feels different about this team is that they're dialed in to the work of really preparing for every single game.
I was talking earlier, and I think James hit the nail on the head. He almost said that Virginia was a better matchup or worse matchup for Florida State than Miami. He caught himself. Just when you look at, kind of Miami runs the pro style versus them doing to us kind of what Gus is wanting to do to other people there. Mm-hmm. The linebackers and the defense, like, are they going to be able to look at Notre Dame and Florida, and is it pretty much going to be, we're going to get what you guys do? You guys line up 3 yards in a cloud of dust, the underneath stuff with Tony? Or do you think with having a bye before and a bye after, is Mario going to pull some shit out of his butt? Or, like, what are we looking at here? Is it just what we get, or was Beck going to start rolling out and tearing us up like that UVA guy or what?
I don't know that we're going to move Carson Beck the platform to throw, but the thing that I've liked, and it's been small things, but you've seen little wrinkles in the offense every single week, right? You go up against in Notre Dame, the opener, right? What's our goal line package this year? The T formation. Shannon Dawson went to a thing. He saw that a couple schools doing that. He said, you know what? I like that. Boom. That's a wrinkle. You see a couple little things in the run game. And as I'm learning more football and watching more ball, I can start to see some of these things, right? So when you usually just have the tight end on the wing and then he comes over and it's split zone. Nah, I'm not going to just run that. We're going to run some different power schemes. We're going to have a diversity of run scheme. And the diversity of run scheme is really a big thing because Miami fans, we've been really crying out for less inside zone. Like there's so many other things you can run. And then you're seeing a little bit of wide zone. We're seeing a little bit of pin and pull. We're seeing some of these other things, right? So, and then in the passing game, you're starting to see some things. Keelan Marion, an All-American return guy, right? Hey, let's put him on an orbit motion. Let's put him on a jet motion. Let's do a little couple things. So I know that I've mentioned 8 or 10 different wrinkles. You've seen only 1 or 2, maybe 3 per week. So I think that there are things in the playbook that are a little bit different that can come out depending on how the game goes. And I think that that's any good offense. I think that you guys have things like that. I'm from Detroit, grew up as a Lions fan. That speed option that they scored on 4th and goal, Amon-Ra St. Brown and Jahmyr Gibbs said that's been in the playbook for 3 years. And they, and Jahmyr Gibbs was like, man, we ain't never going to run that. And ARSB said, just because you said it, we're going to run it this week. And they finally dusted it off and used it in a key situation after having it in the playbook. I don't know what is in Miami's playbook akin to that, but I think that there are other things, especially because we've started seeing a couple little wrinkles. And there's even been there was a tight end, kind of like it was 2 tight ends set with Bowman and Elijah Lofton, and they did kind of a switch thing with their release, and then I think they really traded off what the other route was supposed to be. So you would think that the one closer to the sideline would run insert route here or whatever, and they actually switched those. That was a thing, but it was incomplete, so we don't really talk about that. So I think that there might even be a little bit more wrinkles that have come out. I think that Miami is going to be who they want to be in terms of offense. So, like, you're going to see the things that we've done, but I do think that there are a couple of things that Shannon Dawson does have in the bag of tricks where, okay, we're in a special situation. We need to do something a little bit different than what we put on film. And I have a couple of those things if we need, but I really need them to kind of execute to be able to get into those situations.
Obviously, on the extreme of it with Gus. And I think the days of like Jimbo like to do a lot of times of just lining up, no checks, just this is what you're going to run and run it in college football. I think you have to be crazy to not run motions and mess with eyes. I mean, it killed us for years and years. It's kind of fun seeing those linebackers get mixed up, especially Alabama. Like, there was nothing better than watching those linebackers just being stuck in quicksand and be confused. But yeah, that's an interesting tidbit, and be curious to see what they do with a week off, because kind of like James talked about at the beginning, if our linebackers can just line up and hit something and have a pretty good idea of what's coming, I like our chances. But yeah, if he starts pulling some stuff out and you get down early, it could be a long night. So I'm excited. I don't know if we're doing predictions or whatever, but I'll give my little rundown for the game in a minute when it comes time.
Yeah, I just think that there are some of those things there. It's funny you mentioned Jimbo Fisher. Al Golden, when he was Miami's coach, was famous for whoever he employed as offensive coordinator, line up and snap the ball. No. Like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to whatever. He's not Cam Ward. So don't clip this and say that I said he is. But Carson Beck has the ability, with all of the experience he has, to get Miami in and out of the play that they want to get into. Now, it's different because Cam Ward was like, cool, I'm going to check because I'm trying to go up top. Carson Beck is like, I'm going to check so that the 15-yard dig is open, or maybe the run game is going to hit. And you'll see a little bit of motion from Miami. I think the thing is really, if you get up to the line, you'll see they'll alter the protections and maybe, side adjust a couple routes more than like moving pre-snap. But there has been movement pre-snap, especially if you're looking at a Keelan Marion on the field. If you're looking at sometimes we do that single back personnel, 5 wide, motion the running back into the backfield, kind of like Texas does with Quintravian Wisner. You know what I mean? So you'll see some of those things and everything. Yeah, but I'm interested to see how that goes. And like on the other side, yeah, I know that Miami has passed all of the tests in front of them on defense so far. This is a different beast. And I know that we had, Notre Dame pro style, USF up tempo, but they were playing behind the sticks all day, so they couldn't even get into tempo. But you had to prepare for that all week and then, get that done with the Gus offense, which I was going to say, the reason that Gus Malzahn still works at the level of college football is because he consistently beats Alabama, whether it was in his old job as head coach here, like, that's his claim to fame. You know what I mean? And I don't want to fall victim to that same kind of a thing. So, yeah, I'm interested to see that. I do think the linebackers are playing a lot better this year. I think they've been playing more disciplined with I mean, a couple exceptions, but the exceptions are glaring. Like when Moture decided to leave the tight end wide open against Notre Dame, just get into no man's land when CJ Carr wasn't even running and give up a 65-yard pass. Like, we haven't seen any more of that, but we saw that the one time. So there are some issues with that and everything. But yeah, being disciplined with your eyes and really, gap sound and assignment sound is key. I'm interested to see, like Cal did to Miami last year, they dialed up tons and tons and tons of rule-breaking offensive plays that broke the rules for Miami's coverage. That's how they had guys butt naked wide open by 40 yards. I hope, and I know that we have a different, coordinator and it's a completely different scheme. I want to see Corey Heatherman's defense not have those critical failures when dealing with the window dressing in motion that's going to be part of a Gus Malzahn offense you guys are going to run.
I appreciate it. I'm getting more insight on UM. I look for. I know you're going to. What I think your offensive coordinator is going to do is he's going to duo the hell out of us. That's what I saw against Notre Dame. Is just because odd front. Because I'm going to explain what duo basically is, because there's people on here who don't know that you can you can't game plan for a new coordinator even if you don't have film of him in that current school. Like, just promise you, this is why they pay people millions of dollars to do this. They're not dumb. Gus has tons and tons of film, and to be honest with you, Mike Norvell's offense is an offshoot of the Gus Malzahn offense. So, at the end of the day, that's what it is. But duo is basically double team up to the next level. And when you have an odd front, that is kind of naturally sets you up, unless Daryl just unless that nose literally bullies the center, because that does affect the double. You can't double team if you can't get to the double team. So, but I don't know if that will happen, because again, I do believe that Maribel is a really, really good offensive line coach, and personnel's change from year to year. Concepts don't. That's the difference. That's why you don't study the personnel as much as you study the concept and what they're trying to do with you, do to you. And that's why I say, okay, when he's here, he likes this. Everybody has tendencies, and you do a lot of different things. And I know we've done this. It's actually been pretty. Again, I like to listen to what everybody else is about to do. I could talk about FSU all day. I don't know as much about Miami as I did because I don't watch it. The same.
I will say, going off of what you just said, duo is the foundational play of Miami's run offense. Shannon Dawson said it after the Notre Dame game and after the Bethune-Cookman game. He's like, Mirabal is the run game coordinator, and I kind of take his keys on, okay, what does the line see and what does he want to do? And he's like, just screaming at him, duo. He's like, we work in a duo. And we wrote it on stateoftheu.com, put up, different kinds of, pictures of it. One of our guys is a coach, Justin DeTavio, so he breaks down the scheme also. But yeah, that is a foundational, if not the foundational run scheme in Miami's offense for sure.
No matter how big the Waffle House, I always call it the Waffle House menu that all offensive coordinators have, you practice 100-something plays during the week to run 6 over and over again. You're going to find what you work and what you like, and you're going to run those over and over again. So again, like I said, I know it's going to be a very interesting, very hard-hitting matchup. I do believe it's going to be the most viewed game in college football so far, and possibly by the end of the year, it'll be one of the more watched ones, because as both programs are doing really, really Miami's continuing what they had last year, and Florida State is, regardless of how you feel, has made a 180. I told people one thing I know for sure: Florida State was not going 2-10. I knew that for a fact. I could bet.
Oh yeah, I wasn't predicting that either.
But it's still, even with the Virginia game, I always told everybody. I think I told you this at Notre Dame. I'll know what I need to know about this FSU game, the FSU team, when I see what they do with Virginia, regardless of if they beat Alabama. Well, we beat Alabama at that point, but I told you the Virginia game is what gave. So I believe Florida at the end, Florida State is a 8 to 9 wins, 8 to 9 win team. I'll probably bump it up to 9. I had it at 8 before, but yeah, it's again, and we'll see what happens with this test. But if you want to go to the league, which is the only reason you go to schools like this, is to play in games of this nature. And as a guy who has scored a touchdown in this rivalry, if you make a play in this rivalry, it's a lot of money that could be made for you for the rest of your life. So I do know that for a fact. Nobody eats more off of one touchdown than this guy. So
I love it. It's like, the NBA role player, like a Matt Bullard from the Houston Rockets, who still has like 2 dealerships in Houston. He does the color commentary and everything. I don't know if you remember Matt Bullard, but he had a couple threes in '94. You know what I mean? So, but he gets to, have a free beer and a hot steak for a lifetime. So, yeah, man, it's definitely going to be, huge. I know you guys are going to have everybody and their mama visiting for this weekend, recruiting wise. This is the marquee game. This is the thing. So, I'm really excited for it to get back onto the field. I hate the ACC for giving us, 2 bye weeks sandwiching this game, but that's a conversation for my own show another time.
Yeah, we hate it too.
But I mean, but y'all had week 3 and like week 7. You got yours spaced out. Like, we had last week we play y'all, and then we get our second bye week. Next week, which is
it's going to be rough in November, so for sure.
That's what I'm saying. So, but I think it'll be, it's not a throughout the records game because like both teams have really good records, but like it's going to be loud. It's going to be emotional. Them boys finna be hitting. They're going to be talking that talk. Like I'm getting hype all over it. Like I'm ready, boy. Like I know how it's going to go. So, how the ambiance atmosphere is going to go. I don't know how it's going to play out, but
it's the best matchup since 2017 when we both ranked, or that was just the year y'all were ranked. We lost it. How far do you have to go back to find 2 top 20 teams? One of them top 5. It's the best matchup in a while.
In a good little minute, yeah. I was actually just wrote about that too. That was the Darrell Langham year when we almost lost again for no good reason that season, but. Yeah. Your chat is really funny to me as I see it scrolling by, man. Like there are a lot of people in there who are hyped up for this week, and I love to see that, man. So, I think that both teams offer. Wait, hold on, pause, timeout before I go. Where did y'all find Micaiah Dancy? Because you took this man off somebody's track, he was
a Hollywood. 4-star running back out of the high school that he went to. There has only been previously 3 kids recruited to FSU from his high school. All 3 went to the NFL, and that's Florida State University Developmental Research School, aka.
So that's him. So it's Ernie Sims and 2 other jabronis.
Ernie Sims went to North Florida Christian. That would be. Oh man, why can't I think of my guy's name?
Okay.
He was the former GM for the Redskins. It'll come to me in a minute. It would be James Coleman, Brandon Jenkins. Dadgummit, I can't believe
James Coleman.
I can't believe it. Bum, definitely bum. I tell his son all the time that he sucks, and his dad didn't raise him right. So like that's what I tell my son every time he doesn't make a play. But Micaiah is actually a guy who could probably be will probably be represent the Olympics, represent us in the Olympics in the 400. So he's just like that.
Adrian in the chat saying that's their cousin. He's a football player that runs track. That's a track dude who plays football. But like, no, I think his actually
Martin Mayhew. Thank you, Jaron Kelly. Oh my God, Martin's going to literally
Martin Mayhew used to play for my Lions. I do believe worked for the Lions too.
He did. He used to be the GM for the Lions as well. Yeah. He was the GM for the Lions and the GM for the Red. He currently still works for the Redskins. But yeah, Martin Mayhew is that guy.
Yeah. Okay. But that's the one. And I know that like Ousmane Kroma, true freshman, okay, he's stepping up and he's doing a lot of big things. Obviously, you got 7-foot Deuce Robinson out there and everything, but dog, Danzy, that is a player who can play in this kind of rivalry. Like that's a guy akin to like a Peter Warwick, like a Santana Moss, like a Devin Hester. Like you can have elite athletes in this game trying to chase you with an angle, and you still go score. You know what I mean? Like there's been
if he hits the corner,
like
if he hits the corner on the jet sweep, it's basically the turn.
Right.
Yes, it's wild. Yeah, he's a good ball player. Definitely, the city loves him. So I know that much.
Okay. Yeah,
but look out, he's going to be a decoy on a couple things. Gus has been cooking some stuff up with that little reverse jet that he's been giving him. I look out, maybe you see that, and all of a sudden the ball's gone, and there's a wheel route down the sideline type thing coming. They're going to try it.
Yeah.
I think they made one little play. They did it a little different against Virginia. That was picked up the first down. But yeah, Danzy, they didn't throw him any posts. He didn't get many opportunities for that in the UVA game. Unfortunately, made a few errors on just like technical wide receiver stuff, catch the ball and turn around and run. But yeah, he's an absolute freak. That was unreal to see him just pop off and grab those posts after what he did to Bama in those wheel routes. Like, it's insane. Like, if this even a sliver of the edge on that jet motion, and he's got the ball. Like, there's been 2 or 3 times I was like, oh, it's not going to work this time. And then, bam, he's gone 20 more yards. It's unreal.
I got to think they're coaching him up to protect the ball this week. Because, he turned around once and dropped it, and he almost did it again. And there was no contact on either play.
Just a little excited to make a play. But I feel like he'll tighten that up. He's got all the skills. When Cam said, started saying some of those names, I was like, all right, slow it down. Maybe it's all the time he's a junior. Let's not do what they did to that Alabama wide receiver. No, he has the athletic ability, the world-class athletic ability. And he's thick, too. You know what I mean? He looks more like a 100-meter guy than a 400-meter guy, when you're looking at him. So, yeah, it's an exciting young player for sure. And the same thing with Chroma. You kind of brushed him to the side a little bit. I don't think we definitely haven't seen Chroma's best. He's been killing it for sure.
No. I don't want to push him to the side. I think that I think he's very good. And obviously, he's been at the top of you guys' rotation at running back and doing those things. But Micaiah Danzy, I hold my breath when I see him with the ball, kind of a thing. That's what I meant. You know what I mean? Not trying to downplay anybody, because if on either team, if you're playing major snaps as a true freshman, you can hoop. I'm not trying to say anything like that. So if it came off across that way, that was me not necessarily representing my thoughts, appropriately.
I probably worded it a little harsh. You just kind of brushed it off a little bit, but no, I say that all the time about from the NFL, Chris Johnson. For 2 years, anytime he touched the ball, it was just like a collective gasp. And Dalvin had that. The same thing. Chris Johnson had, except for at the college level. When he got the ball, it was just the whole stadium, visiting, home, it didn't matter. Everybody just goes, is this going to be the one that he breaks for 80 yards? So I'd love to have another of those and Micah Danzy for the Knowles for sure.
You just flared my PTSD by saying that name, Dalvin. Boy.
That boy was a king killer. No doubt.
Man. I didn't want to get into it, dog. Especially from Central. Anyways, I'm not gonna go there. We're not gonna. We're focused on this year.
Y'all got Yearby though. He was the real starter. Come on.
Now, I did say at the time that Joseph Yearby was a better pure running back coming out of high school than Dalvin Cook, and I said if Dalvin Cook can find the vision and balance to not just be, because in high school he was fine the sideline and ride and he was faster than everybody. He didn't really follow blocks, didn't really run inside. Right. So I didn't see that from him. And I went to a lot of those games down at Traz, everything. I worked in high schools. I was always there. So if he can put it together, buddy, and the minute he got to Florida State's campus, he was like, oh, okay, cool. Whatever, all that stuff that, boom, all of it. And I was just, it was, oh God. But whatever.
Folks, we appreciate you being here, the voice of college football. Cam, we'll let you get on your way, but highlight what you've got working this week.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all having me. Learned a lot. Had a good time. So, always appreciate you and everything. So, yeah, stateoftheu.com is the website. We're all Canes all the time, always open. Please come on over and fan with us. Like I said, we had 37 pieces of content for Rivalry Week during the Florida Week 2 weeks ago, already up to 12 or 13 in 2 days this week, with plenty more coming. At Underwood Sports on the Magic Twitter machine is where you can find me and everything, man. So yeah, appreciate everybody who's been in the chat. Some people talking that stuff or saying that I, had this false bravado, and some people, who see me as a stand-up guy, but I just try to represent myself authentically with, every single time. If you like it, you love it. If you don't, you don't. So, we're going to see what the Canes do. Hopefully they go with the Stormtrooper all whites on Saturday and emerge from Doak with yet another victory in a stadium that Miami has a winning record, and just extending that. Thanks.
Oh, come on. Discount the ones from the 7, bro. Look, hey, we're going to come back and do this again next week, if win or lose either side, or what? Because we need to commit now. I don't want people to lose and then be like, oh, we're not doing the Miami-Florida State matchup again. Because that would be fun for one of us, or two of us, maybe one of us.
I do not duck smoke. I'm not that guy. I'm not going to hide. I'm not going anywhere. So you can dial it in, set it and forget it. I will be here next week, come hell or high water, because that's how I ride for my university.
Thanks, Cam. Appreciate you being here. We will see Cam tomorrow night. So Cam and I get together, Florida State folks. We're here on the Miami channel, Cam and I. That's Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. George, you got the floor.
Hate week. I said I'll make a prediction. I'll make a prediction. Florida State 37, Miami 34. That's my prediction. I think if we're going to be in it, we need to score 30 points. So that's what needs to happen. I think inexplicably, Crystal Ball in the fourth quarter is up like 34-28 or something, and decides he's going to throw it or something when there's you could just run it or not take a knee. Something like that. Some bad decision is going to happen, and insert Gus's 2-minute offense, and that's how it happens. Whether it's a field goal in overtime or you somehow get it done, I just feel like that's what it's going to be. Obviously, you need to not get down big early in the game, but that's where I'm at with it. 37-34 Florida State, however you get to that score.